and in through the in-course. And we'll jump trackside now if the drivers, while they're in the open practice. If you're joining us for the stream, jump in the chat, say hello. We've got Ricky in the stream. Thanks for joining us, mate. And if you're new to our channel, don't forget to hit that follow button. We're only a few away now from reaching our 300 milestone, so it's pretty exciting. And we thank everyone who follows the channel for supporting the league and all our drivers.
So sorry, Russell. I'm so sorry.
Sounds like I've got some radio.
I had a feeling it was coming. All good, Steph.
So we'll change that so we don't get radio audio blasting over us. Itself on me after updating some settings, so we'll be back in with our overlay again. Looks like I think we're focusing on Sam Tucker at the moment. I'll get my camera controls again. There we go, get some overlays back up. So we've got 21 drivers in the session at the moment. Scott Rankin with the quickest time so far, sitting at 1:34.6. Brendan Meyer not too far behind with 1:34.7. Drivers' voices. You actually think I was still sitting in the Discord channel until I realised that was the in-game radio. Sound like Steph getting on the radio. I think it may have been with Rusty. And we'll jump on board for a lap around Oulton Park once we jump over into the qualifying session. And there's 50 points on the line for pole position. Bartosz getting in some pretty good times. He is setting some fantastic lap times last week. Then we saw him get taken out through some net code. It's actually been 2 rounds in a row where he's been affected with some net code. I was going to try and see if he can figure out what was going on in case there's any connection stuff going on his end. So hopefully no bad luck with that tonight. Oh, we've just had some change of Brendan Meyer taking the quickest lap. He's beat Rankin's time by 3/10. Hey Mick, thanks for joining the stream. So Marinus currently parked up. There's 30 seconds left to open practice. So to Blake Allen, let's just let Steph through. Simmons letting Vandel through just before the chicanes. And it's going to be very testing section of the track. Those tyre walls at the apexes through the chicane are not soft at all. They are actually surrounding a solid pole. So clipping that will be a complete write-off to the car. And there we go. Open practice completes and now over into 10 minutes of qualifying. Peters first to scramble out on track. much out on track now. There's a few that aren't. Oh, Rusty's just gone for a spin. He's waiting for some traffic to clear. If he hasn't taken any damage, won't have to waste any time bringing the car back into the pits and coming out for another out lap. Those track conditions are staying very cool. So it's 24 degrees. Track temp for ambient 23. Oh, we just had car go wide. The driver should be on for their first time laps. Oh, he takes a solid hit. That'll be bringing the car back in. Unfortunate for Dan. I think that looks like the final corner. There's a few corners. He's coming on, so we're going to jump on forward for a lap with Dave Arney. Trying to stay very wide for this turn. He can actually capitalise a lot more speed. A lot of drivers do actually exploit an off track there. Try and gank that corner a lot quicker. It's actually what brought in our instant limits. Oh, it's just caught him off guard. It is a very quick corner. Usually this is quite a long straight. So right at this crest here, you got to be on the anchors, ready to turn down into double apex hairpin. Along the top of the hill and down into the chicanes. So you can get very easy to clip those tyres, and it's going to be over for you once you do. Side to side on the track, just trying to get as much straight line momentum out of the car. A lot of inside curb, it's very bouncy in these cars. There's a fair bit of debris on the inside of that apex, so it gets dragged out, makes it a little bit slippery, and coming down into the final corners, this one can catch a lot off. Come up across the crest, ready down into the final corner. Doesn't count for Dave as he had the off track. Hopefully he has a bit more luck this time around. Oh, and look out, we've got Blake Urquhart joining the session. He's going to be away from racing for a while with the rub of his bub. So he's probably got some free time on his hands and he's jumped in behind the wheel. He's got pole position with a 1:34.990. Then have Mark Cochran, second quickest time. And straight behind him is Scott Rankin. He was holding on to the quickest time in the practice before. And he's just taken pole, setting a 1:34.1. Got debut driver Nathan Stacey joining us tonight as well, so all the best to Nathan. He's currently qualified in 7th. He's set a 1:36.740. There's now just over 4 minutes remaining to qualifying. And he's just had an improvement in lap. He's qualified himself in 11th with a 1:36.496. Gander currently in the pits. I don't think he's been out for a lap. Hopefully no dramas going on for him. We saw him turned around, backing out on the early start before. Marinus yet to get a time in. Will this be it here now? Yes, that moves him up into P4, sitting at 135.3. Vandel's taken pole. Oh, this one's going to be an off for him. Seeing some very nice times of 33.9 for Vandel, Rankin 34.1, Urquhart 34.2, and they're all just following suit as well. This car's immediately ahead of all those cars. That's Vandel and Rankin just up ahead. Bartos qualifying in 6th. Myers in 5th. Blake Gallons just bumped up into position 4. Crawford's qualifying in 9th. Not sure he's moving around there. Maybe Seth Brown. That is Brown. Kellen Hodgkinson out on track. He's had some issues and had to leave the session, not being able to finish out the race. Hopefully he's got a bit more luck. Sam Tucker struggling to get a time in at the moment. He's done 3 laps. It's only just 1 less than our pole setting times. So he's maybe having some dramas with some off tracks invalidating the qualifying time for him. Otherwise there's only 3 drivers not getting a time, so that's Gander and Brown. Brown's out on track, but he's just gone and made wall contact, so that's going to be done for him. He'll probably get around across that. Yeah, he's only just at the finish line, so there's no point bringing the car in. He can at least get a time on the board. He may be able to improve a position. So he's currently qualifying 23rd, and Gander's in the pits, not completed a lap, so he's in 22nd. So just getting a time in will even move him up in front of Sam Tucker. So he's yet to get a time on the board unless it's his lucky lap now. I'm looking at how he's feeling, and Philly sent me a message saying his finger isn't real good. It's broken, so that's why we haven't seen him out on track. Expects to be sitting out until the V8s. Hopefully he gets that mended. He said he will be jumping in the stream, so wouldn't be surprised if we see him in the chat. Vandel holds pole position. Bartos has bumped down Blake Gallant. He's still out on track, so he's still got an opportunity to be able to the qualifying time. Kellen Hodgkinson set a nice time, a 1:35.060. Tucker qualifies in 9th position. Brown's brought the car in, so not getting a time in, so it sets him in 23rd and 22nd for Gander, and they've readied up as well. We have a fair few that have actually readied up, so it's going to probably get ready to boot us off into our results. Oh, sorry, our next session in a moment, so we'll bring up these qualifying results. There it is. It was a little bit slow to load. Scott Rankin taking pole position right at the end there, 1:33.882, so just scraping in front with Sebastian Vandel. And the rest of the grid will then be Blake Urquhart, Brendan Meyer, Dan Bartos, Blake Gallant, Kellen Hodgkinson, Stuart Crawford, John Marinas, and Sam Tucker. And then followed by Mark Cochran, John Gallen, Damien Cross, Nathan Peters, Dan Winrow, Dave Arney, Nathan Stacey, Dan Ferroni, Stephanie Piccoli, Philip Buckland. And we've got David Simmons, Russell Gander, and Seth Brown. So let's see if the drivers are gearing up ready to load over. There's a few that are out mucking around on track at the moment with a bit of speed. Calker must be doing some grid practices here. So once the session hanging just a little bit. There's about 18 seconds till it boots us over unless they're all ready up, which they've just done. So it'll be still a car I can hear on track. Can't see who that is. So it'll be 23 drivers gridding up. And hopefully not too much incident. On these opening laps, it's been pretty intensive. These last couple of rounds over the first few laps. Hey DK, thanks for jumping on the stream. Just waiting on a few drivers to ready now. So we can find out nicest shot for the start of the race. So a few drivers yet to grid, and then we'll get the green lights ready to go for round 3. Just waiting on John Gallen and John Marinas. Marinas is ready. Gallen's ready, so that'll be green lights in a moment.
Green flag, green flag.
And we are green for round 3. Barndell gets a great move off the line. Takes some good track position. Bartish making a move. There's a little bit of contact going on. I don't know if it's individual cars. It looks like we've had a nice getaway. So hopefully all the drivers remember to turn right there and not continue on. And we were all joking that we would take a joker lap if we cleared the black flag for them once they did it. Oh, look at that, that's Urquhart starting to peek around just before the chicane. He's putting on some pressure to Rankin. These first 4 drivers had some very tight times in the qualifying session. Hopefully they can hold out and they'll be able to put on a huge battle. had a bit of contact. Stacey's turned around. Oh, he's just had a head-on with another car. That's Piccoli. He was facing the wrong way at the corner exit. How much damage is there for it? He's not far from the pits. It's not going to lose too much time. Come in, use that fast repair, get out. The drivers will have enough fuel to be able to last out. Rankin and Vandel side by side before the hairpin. Now squeeze Rankin out to the outside, so then Urquhart also squeezes on through. Nice pass and perfect opportunity. Rankin also doing what we saw Urk do on the first lap. Start positioning that car towards that inside before the chicane. It's going to make people really think, are they really going to do it? We got out a little bit wide, made some contact. Meyer starting the close in as well. He's dropped back a little bit. Rankin carried a lot more speed for those last few corners. He's now right heading on the tail. That's cost him. It ran a little wide. It may be an off track, and if the drivers accumulate 17 incident points, it will be a drive-through penalty. Urquhart's having a go. Side by side with Vandel. Vandel's going to have the inside line. He's almost getting a bit of his... Well, there was a little bit of lag contact. He's pretty much getting back his own move that he snuck in before. Oh, they're fighting for that track position as they approach the chicanes. You can't really fit two cars in well, and they do manage it. They are not giving up. Look at this, Rankin coming up around the outside in tow of Vandel. Myers tucked in. Urquhart's trying to block the position. What a fight from these four. It's a good door to door, a little bit of rubbing. Moves on up as well. There's a fair bit of movement here. These two are still at it. Urquhart's going to have the advantage of speed being on the outside here. That's could potentially put him out a bit wide. He holds his ground. He's going to come down into a left-hander, but staying on that outer line there is going to make him lose speed in the braking zone. Oh, that car bouncing around, barely holding grip down through the inside of the corner. That car could have easily slid out, started to skip across. He's nearly 2 by 2 down through the hairpin. Rankin now going to be flying up the inside line before the chicane. No, he pulls that car in. He's not going to be as game as what Vandel and Urquhart were doing. I think that's Buckland that's just gone off track. He's having some dramas. Looks like he's been in, used a fast repair. Stacey had a longer stop, so he's in there for 38 seconds. So they might have changed tyres on him as well. Twin row requiring fast repair. Straight in behind Piccoli, who came around that corner to find Nathan Stacey facing the wrong way right on the exit. Bad luck there, but they're not too far behind the pack. making some movement. There's another battle, 2x2 here. That's Sam Tucker. He's just turned around. That was in front of Callan Hodgkinson. So they started rubbing, looked like the cars locked together. And just powered off as Tucker managed to avoid damage from that. He's just dropped positions. Cochrane's missing that front end, so he's taken a hit. There's been movement again. Urquhart and Varndell keep teetering with that race lead. Meyer and Rankin doing the same. And Blake Gallen's closing in very quickly on these guys. This is going to be a 5-way fight very soon. Oh, Varndell, nice inside pass. Pretty much seeing swaps of moves here. So we saw Urquhart make a pass on that same corner on a previous lap. Varndell then just gets the lead at the same point, doing the same move. Some lap traffic against Nathan Stacey. So he's in position 22. Moves aside, nicely lets the race leaders through nice and quick, just on approach before the chicane. So could have easily balked them up. So that was well timed, nicely done by Stacey. Blake Allen dropping back a little bit. Crawford and Marinas closing in for a fight for 6th position. Brown and Arnie fighting it out again. Hodgkinson's in the pits. Been to use his fast repair. This may have taken some damage of a turnaround with Tucker. Well, Arnie was carrying some good speed through that corner. Is he going to try and make an inside line pass? Brown's covered the line. Putting off guard, almost looked like it may have been 2 moves as he was blocking and then turned across. You can use the full length of the block, but it can't be done immediately and then chain it into your move into the racing line. So that's open advantage to Tucker to sneak on through. Russell Gander also closing in. Race leaders starting to space a little bit, and they have been going at it for 12 minutes of some intense battling. Oh, they've ran wide. Always a bit of object fixation for Urquhart. Oh, he's just locked that car up. That front just bit down hard. I nearly had a tank slapper going on for him. I would have put him straight off down towards that right-hand wall. Instead, he's only lost about 3 attempts. Much better alternative. Oh, Blake Gallen goes for a move around Meyer. Is he going to be able to carry it? No. He has to bring the car back in for the chicanes. Oh, there's a touch. That was a very close call. That could have gone very bad. It's going to be an interesting one to check out. So it did look like Meyer had actually moved out and left the door open. Gallen may have actually gotten that track position in the corner. That was a solid tap. It even looked like it would have a gap as well, but a bit hard to tell from that gearbox view. To Meyer. Drops back 3 positions. So he's only lost about 3 seconds out of that. And that was with going off track down towards that wall. So that was incredibly lucky outcome to an incident that could have gone very bad and ended the race for both of them. And just ahead, it's Crawford and Marinas still fighting it out. Oh, very wide from Varndell. He's trying to get every bit of pace out of that car when he's got Burkhart right on his tail. And it's just trying to make sure not to cave into that pressure, especially once the driver behind starts positioning themselves alongside, looking to go for a pass. It starts getting you a lot more active in being aware of what's going on around. That's definitely the case here, Ricky. It was some pressure there from Blake Gallen onto Meyer. So he's forcing a wider line in that corner. So that's seen him move into 4th position. Interesting little bit of steering there for Erk. I'm not sure if there may have been a little bit of locks. That car sort of went straight and then just sharply turned in. And he dropped back a fair bit of pace. Oh, he's clipped that curb. A little bit of tyre wall. I'm pretty sure that's registered up as some contact. This actually just come up as a loss of control. So just going off track. So not high incident points. Look like Rankin got the exact same thing as well. Rankin has just had a fantastic run out of that last corner. He's positioning himself on the outside. And he's going to give him a great run here, but it closes out here. Bit of a gauntlet as you come down into the next one. That curb really slowing the car down. And these 86s love to bounce. Oh, a little bit slippery for Rankin. That doesn't make him drop back too much. While Urquhart and Rankin are occupied, this is giving opportunity for Vandel just to focus on the track ahead. He hasn't got the pressure from behind like he had before. It's from lap 10. Vandel's led for 8. Urquhart's led for 2. He seems to be waning off a little bit. That could even be a little bit of conserving going on. A track like Oulton, you can easily start to scrub out those tyres. The overcast conditions and the cool temps is going to make that longevity possibly hold out enough for the 40-minute race. The race can be done with 1 tank of fuel. That's at the 47% cap that we place on the cars. So it leaves the cars very light towards the back end of the race. Crawford and Marinas, no change, but Marinas starting to close in on Gallant. And he is lining up to go for a potential move. Hodgkinson and Tucker side by side. They've tangled together before. And I believe Hodgkinson did come into the pits. So he's either not utilised the fast repair or he's taken some damage again since. This looks like Dave Arnie's towed or had to retire out. You know, I believe he is going to be on call. So may not have been making the race. That's probably been what's happened. Oh, it's 2 by 2 through the corner. That's pushed out Rankin. But Urquhart takes back the race lead. And is teetering with Rankin and Vandel. Vandel quickly loses 2 places. Hi Mick, yeah, because you said Ghost Army in the chat. Misinterpreted it. Rankin on the move. Oh, good nudge to the rear from Vandel. I think Rankin's going to get an advantage here. Vandel's contemplated the same things. He took that line. Well, there's just been a big amount of contact with someone. Brendan Meyer and Stuart Crawford may have... Yeah, Brendan Meyer looks like he's just had a tow over that, or he's blinked out. Yeah, he's just towed the car. Or if that was tangle for another driver. Yeah, I think that's Stuart Crawford just coming in now as well. So using the fast repair. No, Mick, no. Mandatory pits aren't available in iRacing. We do try and force a pit by limiting the fuel on the cars. And then there I got a message from Arnie saying that work's just called. So at least he got to do half the race. He didn't even think he was going to make any of it, so at least he got 20 minutes of racing. And he's in the chat as well. No worries, Sami. At least you made half the race, got some of it. With some movement up the front, Blake Gallen's jumped up into position 3. Vandel's dropped back. So I'm checking out all the other stuff that was going on with Meyer. Vandel's dropped back some more. So there was looks like a loss of control that's gone on, so he's made an error. So he dropped from that fight for the lead down into P5. There's 17 minutes left. We've done 14 laps. And Marinas had Stuart Crawford sitting behind for majority of the race as well. It looked like Meyer and Crawford may have got tangled up. So Meyer's towed his back out on track, so he's pulled back out into position 16. Nathan Stacey retiring out on lap 6. So he got unlucky, facing the wrong way at the final corner early on the race. I think it was lap 2 that it happened. Actually, might have been a few later on. Scott Rankin is our race leader. Blake Urquhart in position 2. He's trailing by 1 second. Blake Gallen in position 3. He's 10 seconds away from race lead. He was closing in on them before. And then there was some contact between himself and Meyer, which dropped the two back. They recovered reasonably well. And Marinas has been poking along at that spot at a good amount of pace. So he wasn't getting a whole lot of pressure from Crawford before. He is just nicely tucking in, following that same line. And it is quite good when you can get a run like that at someone similarly paced and just tuck in, do a bit of conserving, and even use each other to try and propel yourself through the race. Looks like Vandel's dropping pace again. His previous lap was a 1:42.6. Seeing John Gallen and Dan Barter start to close in. Bartas having taken some damage. The car seems to be handling okay. He's closing the gap between himself and John Gallen. Marinas quickly closing in on Blake Gallen now. Car. In front of the car for Marinas. Chasing down Blake Gallen for position 3. manages to pull away a little bit in that back sector. And some lap traffic coming up. So that's Piccoli. I should probably move across to the right here after the hairpin, let these two go through, try and slingshot them through. Actually in position 17. Doesn't want to get held up here too long, so it's going to allow Marinas to close in even more. There's a little bit of grass as he makes his way around. That's Urquhart up ahead, and he's got some damage to the front end of the car. He's missing the bonnet now. He's having to bring the car in, so obviously wasn't handling too well. Is he fighting a crooked steering? No, he's having a drive-through penalty. No, he's pitting in. So lap 18, Scott Rankin's got the race lead. He's got 14.8 second lead. Blake Gallen moves up into position 2. Marinas into position 3. So with a fair gap to the race lead. Focus will be between these two for position 2 and 3. So they got a nice bit of a gap to Varndell at this stage. He did seem to be dropping pace a bit. He started to pick it up that previous lap, a 1:34.5. So it's about a second and a half quicker than Blake Gallen and John Marinas. Ches Barramundi. Yeah, it does look like the grass bit back at the front runners. Oulton Park is great for that. No, Blake hasn't seen a podium yet, so he's going to be pretty ecstatic running up there. He's been working hard for it for quite some time. Running project cars, he started getting up that front end, and then after a good run the front there made the move to project cars, and he's had some pretty good pace. It's just taken a while to really get it dialed in, and it looks like he's getting that now. Peters and Crawford trying to sort out position 12. Hodgkinson's lasted out. That's good. He hasn't had to duck off. Blake Urquhart, after pitting, came out in position 10. Up ahead is Mark Cochran and Russell Gander. Cochran showing some damage to the car, which is similar to what Urquhart had. I'm not just sure how much it affects the speed by having that missing bonnet on these cars. Cochran probably Actually sitting in tow there is going to be at least beneficial if there is a bit of slowing of the car's speed. Bartish and Gallen still keeping the same gap. So 7 minutes remaining. It's only got 5-6 laps left in the race. We've got 20 under the belt already. Ranking showing no slowing down. He's pushed that gap out to 17.8 seconds. Rankin flying out there. He's got the fastest lap of the race as well, and that was that previous lap, 1:34.020. On helmet cam, Scott. Overcast conditions, track temperatures increased to 26 degrees. So we only had a few degrees of warming. Hey Phil, thanks for jumping on the stream. Like Allen, not feeling any pressure from Marinus yet. He's been able to keep a decent gap. Marinus could just be playing cautious as well. Sit back and wait for an opportunity as the closing laps come in. Maybe move in and put some pressure on. So that's when the nerves are going to be set in a lot more, especially when you're running up in P2. Damien Cross just quietly makes his way up through into position 4 to take the championship lead after last week. With all our drivers on the standings sitting so close for points. Closest to worry about now at the moment would be Varndell for the championship lead. Meyer was only trailing by 2 points, but he's got about 10 position difference. Mark Cochran managed to get around Russell Gander. He's now got Blake Urquhart looking to get around. There's probably going to be a bit of an advantage for Urquhart here. I think there's going to be some speed loss to Cochran's car, missing that bonnet. Still not able to find his way around Cochran. He's getting the elbows out and not leaving any opportunities to sneak through. Yeah, Chaz, it is quite easy for these cars to lose the bonnet. It doesn't take much of a touch to that front end and the bonnet goes. These things are quite susceptible to some damage. I do think it's a fair bit of visual to the car. These cars got a very different handling to them. The physics model that came out for these things is pretty great. Yeah, it might improve the aerodynamics. A lot of the field's missing them. It's even the same we see in the V8 supercars when they lose the rear bonnet, so the rear boot, when the wing, and the cars still seem to handle pretty good. We just had a little bit of a blink. There was a spike on my connection. Gallen lapping Winrow. Let's put another car in between himself and Marinis, which is going to be handy. Marinis is going to have to try and get around as quick as he can. That's the wrong one. Should be able to flow on here. Winrow will move aside if he can let him carry enough speed. You can see Marinis trying to get that draft still. So it still wasn't enough to try and make his way through. $50 seconds left. Rankin's only a couple of corners away from the control line, and it'll be final lap with only 45 seconds left on the clock. You can see white flag out. It's not carrying a lot of pace. He seems to be struggling with top end speed. And it may even be a conserving thing here as well. If he's getting low on that fuel, he's just going to be able to make sure the car can get home for podium. You're not going to be wanting to try and push for position 2 and then run the risk of not even finishing at all. Rankin leading by 24 seconds. Farndell's dropped back a bit more. A couple of corners left in it, and round 3 will go to Scott Rankin. He goes a little wide. And there's the checkered flag. Scott Rankin takes the win for round 2. Getting some weird data coming up. It'll be rectified in a second. It's saying that Blake Allen's first. Let's run him down like position 13 in the iRacing data at this stage. It'll fix up once we check out the results. And Blake P2. Marinis in P3. So I wonder if any of the guys will be going and doing a jump. I know they wanted to do some jumps in the open practice. They probably didn't. We missed it. Not sure if they are actually going off and doing it. I don't think they are. No, they're just lining up next to each other. So we'll take a look at the results in a second once we can get another car. There we are, last drivers crossing the line. It's Nathan Peters is crossing the line. Philip Buckland finishes in 18th. Now we'll take a look at those results now. And after 26 laps at Oulton Park, the win goes to Scott Rankin. So a fantastic run. It was a huge lead with about 25 seconds. What's that? 30. Oh, it was actually a very weird timing gap there. It's quite interesting. And then got Blake Gallant taking his first podium. So congratulations to Blake getting his first podium in iRacing. And then Damien Cross taking position 3. So something did happen with Marinus. There may have been some post-race penalties. Or maybe did actually drop down on that fuel. There we go. Now we got some updated figures coming up. So yes, it was 26.5 second lead, and then Damien in P3. Then our first 10 is then John Gallen, Sebastian Van Delt, Dan Bartos, Blake Urquhart, Russell Gander, Mark Cochran, and Callan Hodgkinson. I can hear lots of crunching going on in the background as everyone's having some fun with their cars. We'll see if our drivers are podium chat ready. And congratulations, guys, it was a good race. And your first podium, Blake?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, well done.
That was fun, that was sick.
Yeah. Well done, Blake. John says to say well done. Congratulations.
That was great, I love that.
Yeah, you would have been ecstatic. I bet you were quite nervous in those last few laps, especially with Marinus just tucking in behind, just keeping that nice little gap between you. And it even got scary between you and Myers at one point as well.
Yeah, it was the last couple laps, I was slowing down heaps. I didn't want to run out of fuel. I was making sure I got to the end. Sitting behind Dan Winrow, sitting behind Steph. That was fun. Let's go again.
Well done. Well done, mate.
Yep, and then you're just a little bit quiet on the mic there, so I've just turned you up. Blake, we can hear you, Damien, so congrats on the podium.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really. Yeah. I don't know what happened in that race. I was like sitting back there in, I don't know, 9th and 10th there at one stage, and they just sort of kept dwindling away. I think Seb must have exceeded the incident points because I think he had to go pit in and do a drive-through. Yeah, and then I think John Morenas must have run out of fuel at the end. So
yeah, I saw him just drop back real quick, and then
yeah, because he was like 10
conserving. So
he was 10 seconds in front, and me and Jonathan Gallen were just cruising along, going, "This is pretty good."
Just
and then all of a sudden, and then all of a sudden he was dropping off. But I still finished with 1.5 litres, so I don't know how. I didn't do any fuel saving or anything. I was just cruising around. So
well, I was under a litre. I crossed the line with like 800 mil left.
Yeah, that's tight. That is very tight.
And I even pulled back in the early stages. I was actually trying to look after. I was really worried about fronts, the front tires going on the thing. So I actually pulled back a little bit out of that battle because I was worried about the tires just going off. So whether or not that caused me to save enough fuel. But yeah, it was just about so difficult to overtake. Like the amount of corners that come out, and I'd have a run on somebody, and I'd go to position the car. I went from first to last, from first to fourth, because I just every time I went for an overtake, I lost a spot.
Yeah, because you'd have two of yous going for a move.
Yeah.
And then you just drop back, and then the four of yous are mixed up again, and then a few corners later, it all swaps back around again, doing the same moves on each other. It was great to watch.
I mean, it's only a 2-car wide track too, so if you're a third car coming through with a great tow, you've got nowhere to go sometimes, so you just got to back out of it.
Yeah, I was going to say, you probably would have been a little bit
hairy,
a little bit worried for a bit too, Scott, when seeing Urquhart and Varndell go too wide down through the chicane.
Oh, I was like, well, neither of them can get the run up the hill. So if I just target the run up the hill, that'll be where I'll get the job done on either of these guys. I knew as soon as I could get at the front, I had the pace to just sort of to pull away, and the consistency so all I was worried about was mainly just staying clean and putting the car in the right spot at the right times and harassing bumpers for long enough, filling mirrors, just as long as I possibly could to just sort of get it done. I back my skills in the car every day of the week. So yeah, I mean, it was really fun, and it was actually really fun playing around the practice session with a few guys. We had a few guys on the Discord server messing around with setups before the race. We were all talking about different approaches and how everyone was going about it. And that was really, really good as well.
Yeah, it looked like it definitely helped out too. So fantastic. Thanks for helping out a lot of the guys as well.
Yeah, I just want to say thanks, Scott, for throwing a session up last night and helping me out.
Easy, mate. If people want to learn, I'm here, so pick my brain anytime. And the other side of the coin is when you're coaching or when you're working with people, it's a really good opportunity to just self-examine and have a look at your own skill sets. And it meant that I felt more comfortable because I was watching what everyone else was doing and going, okay, I probably am taking this corner a little bit wrong as well. So
yeah, it's definitely paid off. Yeah, and then in the chat too, Blake, all the Project Cars 2 crew are congratulating you on your first podium.
Oh, thanks, guys.
And then DK Evans and Mick even saying congrats, Damien. So.
Oh, yeah, cheers, thank you. Thanks, Mick.
Yeah, congrats, guys. It was great fight. Seniors up at the front for a while, and we even thought Blake was coming to join in for a little bit until he got a little bit of drop after the very close tangle with Brendan. Then,
that was sketchy.
Yeah, then flew straight back up in there and got there, and another nice one for you, Damien, just to fly on through and get some nice picking.
Consistency.
Make up for all that bad luck you're copping last series.
Yeah. So just keep it on the track and it's all good.
Yep, and it's going to be good to see us keep fighting it out on all the short courses as well, because when we got Tsukuba Circuit next week, and I know it's a track that a lot really hate, so it's either one you like or you completely hate it. It's not it's not too bad sort of one, so it's going to be interesting just to see what sort of mix up we get.
Honestly, I'm expecting some tyres to come off the ground at Tsukuba. Like I think that that middle hairpin, I reckon the left rear is going to come off the ground, and the hairpin before you head down to the final corners, potentially the right rear is going to come off the ground on the inside as well. Just it's so tight, and the car rolls around so much. There's a lot of potential for that.
So much body movement. It was some great lines coming down for those fast sweeping corners when you take that curb and the car's up on the two wheels and just trying to settle the car down ready to make the exit. So yeah, it'll be a good one to see.
Yeah, man. Thank you very much.
Cool.
Thank you to everyone who raced out the other night as well. That was fun. That was really fun.
Yeah. All right. Congratulations, Scott and Blake. Well done, boys.
Yep. Well done, fellas. And good luck next week.
Also want to thank you, JT.
No worries,
Everything
Blake.
you do.
Happy to do it.
Yeah, good stuff. Well done.
Man.
Big shout out to Steph as well. She's come a long way over the last couple of days as well. She said she was enjoying the coaching and the work we're putting in. So good, congratulations to her. And yeah, there was a few people that said that they were having trouble keeping up with her tonight. So Steph, we're booking another session.
Yeah, that's it. We'll see her up there making podium speech soon.
That was fun.
Yeah, it was good. All right.
That was great.
Well done,
Thanks, fellas.
guys. Told you.
Thanks, JT.
No worries. Then we have our podium finish of Scott Rankin taking out the win for round 3. Blake Gallen getting his first podium for iRacing in position 2, and Damien Cross in position 3. That's going to be still looking very tight on that leaderboard for the championship, so do keep a close eye over the coming days on our Facebook page for those results and standings to come up. There is not a lot to be able to have to see drivers jump significant places on those standings. It's going to be a very close series. And then next week for round 4 we do head to Tsukuba Circuit, and as we're saying, it's going to be very interesting. There's going to be a fair bit of lift in these cars. The corners can be rather aggressive. It's going to be quite tough on tyres as well, and then it's going to be not a lot of room on track for them to try and fight it out, especially if we're seeing 20 plus Toyota GR86s, so don't miss that. So hit that follow button if you haven't done so already. Thanks for tuning in tonight, and then hope to see you trackside next time.